We are back on Taking Care of Business on Kern Radio Newstalk 1180. Hey, Clay, that was a great interview with Rudy Salas. I'd love to have him back.
That was a lot of fun. Rudy's a nice guy.
Yeah, he is, and he takes a ribbing pretty well. So it was we had a lot of fun.
And we ribbed him.
Yes, we did. But he said he'd come back
during the show, but before and after we ribbed him too.
Actually, we did a better job of ribbing him before and after than we did during the show.
Well, we're trying to be nice.
That's true, but he's a nice guy, and hopefully he meant what he said when he said he'd come back. But our in-studio guest now is Russ Allred, who is an author, teacher, and he represents Sunbelt Business Advisors. Russ, welcome to Taking Care of Business.
Hey, I appreciate being here. Thanks so much.
A little closer to the mic.
You betcha.
And actually, you should know this because you used to be a talk show host at one time, right?
Well, yeah, I filled in for a couple guys, and I've done this a couple times.
Okay, so this is not new to you.
No, not at all.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about Sunbelt before I have a couple other questions that I wanted to swing by you as far as small business. There's so much going on with small business right now.
Sunbelt sells more businesses than any firm in the world. We have a franchise network that spans the globe. So we help people buy and sell business.
Okay. Now, and you teach small business at
University of La Verne, and I have also taught at Cal State Bakersfield.
As an adjunct professor at Cal State Bakersfield. Okay.
Yes.
I've got a question for you on small business, because I looked at your resume, and I know you do talks on small business and how to make small businesses profitable. I do insurance, and I do a lot of commercial insurance. One of the things that always amazes me is you'll talk to a new business and say, well, okay, let's look at your portfolio and let's determine how your business should work. You know, what do you anticipate your gross receipts to be? What do you anticipate your payroll? What's your profit margin? Nobody knows.
Yeah. The problem with small businesses, most of them are designed to fail.
Okay.
They're not designed to make money. They follow a dream. They want to control their life and be in control of their daily efforts. They do not look at their business as a source of revenue, as an asset. They look at it as a job. And because they don't look at it as a business, they fail.
You've written several books about business. Can you tell us the names of the books and when they came out?
Yes, the family business we released, my brother and I was my co-author. He's a CPA. We released that in 1997, and in 2003, I believe, we came out with, 2005, we came out with Best Practices of High Performance Entrepreneurs. It's really a remake of the first book with some additions that have really blown the covers off a lot of businesses.
Mm-hmm. Now, who uses these books?
We have business owners across the country. 2 of the Inc. 500 honorees, those are the fastest growing privately owned businesses in the country, according to Inc. magazine, have used our book to get them to that position. I have many of your listeners will know the internet game Bejeweled. Bejeweled was developed by John Vecchi, one of our clients. My colleague in Washington took John Vecchi and his business, following the process contained in our book, took him from a startup to $300 million a year in gross sales, and that's at a $10 a pop download.
Wow.
So he's doing $300 million a year, and his product sells for $10.
So in addition to buying and selling, you do consulting to help businesses grow their business.
Absolutely. And one of the best methods of growing a business is to buy your competition. So when we go in to help the small business, that's one of the things we look at is, do you want to increase sales 10% or do you want to double your sales? If you want to double your sales, then you've come to the right place.
Let me ask you another question along that line as far as small businesses not knowing what they're doing. I mean, to me, you hit it right on the nose. People have a tendency to look at it as a job and not as a career or not as a business. Why do you think that is?
Because that's what they're used to. They're coming out of a corporate environment. They go to work in the morning. They do their job. At the end of the week, they get a paycheck. Mm-hmm. A lot of the entrepreneurs I talk to will say, all I have to do is make $30,000, or all I have to do is make $40,000. And so they look at it as a job. I have to go to work and make $40,000. When they should be looking at it as, this is an asset, a source of revenue for me. I'm going to make $1 million a year at this source of revenue for me. Now, how do I produce a structure, a design that will create that kind of wealth for me? And that's the way every entrepreneur should look at their business.
But do you think, unfortunately, now you and I both teach, do you think, unfortunately, too many times it's taught we teach a job mentality and not an entrepreneur mentality. I mean, didn't somebody famous just recently within the last week or two, Clay, you may have heard this, where they're actually paying people not to go to school. They're paying people to open up their own small business.
I think that is entirely foolish. Our educational system, and I'm involved in it, caters to the stock mentality. People who buy stock and create wealth by owning a stock, and that's what we cater to. And they talk about going global, and they talk about these huge conglomerates. And so that's the way they teach. They teach you got to get a college education so you can get a job. And the college education will help you get the job. In fact, you'll have better odds of getting a job if you have a college education. You make a good living. But if you want to make money as an entrepreneur, you have to look at the design of that business and engineer it so it will produce revenue for you.
Our in-studio guest is the author, teacher from Sunbelt Business Advisors, Russ Allred.
Russ, I don't know where you find all the time, but I pulled down some articles you recently wrote. One is Avoid the Foolish Mistakes Some Entrepreneurs Make. Another one you wrote earlier this year, Ensuring a Smooth Transition to the Next Generation, which is really interesting. And then you have Your Business, a Poverty Prison or a Money Machine. And Effective Marketing is much more about product placement.
Yes.
So you've really got some great articles.
I am a writer. I enjoy writing. I even wrote a novel. So it's something that I enjoy doing. But more important, I want to educate the typical entrepreneur because I see them suffer. When I say, is your business a poverty prison or a money machine? I'm very serious about that. I see so many entrepreneurs stuck in their job, and they can't make enough money to feed their family or to prepare for retirement or provide health care for themselves. But they're unattractive to somebody who might hire them if they quit their job or their employment, their business, I should say, to go back to the workforce and get a job. Then their corporate employers say, well, you haven't been in this field for a long time, and I don't know if I can hire you now. So they're unattractive. They get stuck in this poverty prison that they call a business when it's really just a bad job.
Do you agree that people that go into business for themselves have a misconception of what it's all about?
Oh, boy. They come in with their big eyes and their positive mentality, and they're just ready to conquer the world, and they really don't know that it's going to suck every bit out of you that you've got. And there's a local professor. It used to be with the SBDC, and he would discourage anybody going into business. He says it's the most miserable thing you could possibly do is to own your own business, and when his job was to help people in business. So I always thought that was kind of interesting, but I understand the mentality now. It's a tough way to go.
Now, you said the SBDC, that's a small business development center here in Kern County, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Are you a consultant with them?
I am not. I offered my services to them, but there was a conflict of interest problem with me being an advisor there. So I did the next best thing and provided training to their consultant. His name is Eric Mers. He's a certified Hot 100 business advisor. He follows one of the processes that I created, and the service is available through the local SBDC.
Right.
So,
Eric is a consultant there. I do know that. Yeah. So what do you charge, or how do you charge for your services if you're working with a small business owner?
I personally probably don't do enough consulting with individual business owners. At this time, I am trying to reach 50,000 business owners and help them increase their gross revenue by $1 million each. So I spend a lot of my time working on a national basis, a national level. With Eric Mers, you can go to the SBDC and get service for free following the process that we created. So, when you ask how I charge, it's free, not bad.
So how do people find out about you're trying to reach 50,000 businesses? Where would they go to get information of what you're doing and how you're doing it?
The reason that I joined with Sunbelt Business Brokers is because we have this national network. If I made an offer to the SBDC nationally, when SBDC is federally funded through the Small Business Administration, if I made an offer to them, just little me from Bakersfield, they wouldn't take me seriously. So I signed up with Sunbelt Business Brokers, and we as a group are underwriting this grant to small business development centers everywhere in the country. There's 1,000 of them, and we want to help 50 in each of the 1,000 SBDCs to grow their business by $1 million. That's how I'm going to do it.
So how would people, again, find information about Russ Allred?
I'm all over the internet. You can Google me, and you can find those articles that I wrote. You can buy my book at Russo's Books or online at Amazon.com, Best Practices of High Performance Entrepreneurs, or you can just call me, 319-3072. Easy to get me.
Okay. When we come back, let's pick up on some pointers you can give to small businesses when we get back.
You bet.
We're having a conversation with Russ Allred on Taking Care of Business on News Talk 1180 Kern Radio.